morning, everyone. It's your guy, Pat Bernard, a.k.a. The Gobbler, a.k.a. Pat from Ambler. And, of course, I am now joined by special guest hostess from the One Team We Can Agree On podcast. We got a happy couple. We usually don't have happy couples here. If of course you hear listen to PM in the AM, me and my buddy Mike, we catch us every Sunday morning. We're always fighting. We never agree on it because he's an idiot and I'm not. So that usually works. Well, doesn't usually pan out well. But we got a happy couple in the house that cover the Philadelphia Union. And I'm going to introduce my man Kyle and Julian Almoney. What's going on? Did I butcher that like I normally do?
Oh, it's okay. I'm used to it.
Yeah. No. And if you listen to our last name, it's Almoney, but people say Almoney all the time.
Almoney.
Yeah. But we're doing good, man. Thanks for having us on, Pat. It's gonna be a fun show, and we just really appreciate giving us some time this morning just to chat about the Union, man. We're excited for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, just tell me a little bit about your podcast and where people can find you guys and gals, and tell me, all about, your pod.
So we started it, I guess, did we start in January maybe of 2023?
Literally right after the MLS Cup. Yep.
Yeah. So before we'd gone to the MLS Cup, even we had people telling us, oh, you should do a podcast and, about more of the community side of the Union in addition to stuff actually about the game, because we have, these perspectives. And we basically decided that when we were at the MLS Cup in LA and we came back and we reflected on that and we started up and we've been doing it ever since.
Yeah. So we do about one show a week, sometimes twice. We interview players. We had Stu Finley on right after he had gotten transferred to Oxford from the Union. We had him on. We've had Neil Pierre from U2 on most recently. But then we've also had a lot of fans on, other people in the media, such as Dave Leno.
Dave Leno, we've had Kevin Kincaid on, some different people in there. And we were at the United Soccer Coaches Convention in Anaheim back in January and interviewed some people there. So it's been a really cool experience. And
then we also have our website, the oneteamweagreeon.com, where in addition to that, we do pressers, some press quotes. We do community pieces. I do a travel blog because I do like a side hustle. I'm a travel agent as well. So I use some of my experiences and contacts. So each week, like I just did one from Nashville. So if anybody's listening, they're down Nashville, check it out. It's on oneteamweagreeon.com.
Yep. And we're pretty active on Twitter. I'm at silly_Jilly and he's at Coach Almoney. And we're at TOTWAG on Twitter.
But at the end of the day, we created this podcast just, for fans, from fans, that people that we just want to grow the community, grow the Union community, because the Union means so much to us. I mean,
it's why we're called the One Team We Agree On, because literally, if you see behind us, I have an Eagles banner. He has Dolphins. Literally, the Union are the only team we agree on from Philly. So. I'm 5 for 5, and he's 1 for 5.
It is. It's true.
Yeah.
Total violation on you, Kyle. Total violation. But it's all fun and games. But listen, it's funny you mention it, because when I first started, as far as covering the Union, again, me and my buddies, we started for 15 minutes on Facebook, and then Edge of Philly Sports kind of picked up on it and said, why don't you bring that over to here? And we gave it a whirl. So me and Guy Russell Saul, my one of my best friends, we went down to that Union tailgate party that was for the MLS Championship Cup, and we hung out with Brett Porsche and stuff like that. So and Fox reporter Jennifer Lee, and we were talking about Union soccer, and before you know it, this time last year, we start covering the team and start to get familiarized with the family up there in that press box. Kyle, you guys, Skylar, we were just mentioning Jose and Miguel, the Godfather, and a lot of the people up there. Todd, father. I mean, there's a lot of fathers up there. But yeah, I mean, it's a like I kind of mentioned before we went on air, it's become more of a family. We have dinner together, we're talking, we break stones, we have a good time up there, and it's one of the better atmospheres I've been into, and it's all with Nico too at the helm. So it's always a good time. But let's get down to business. Last week, I don't know what's happened with this team, but Julian Carranza has been on fire. On fire, 3 goals in back-to-back games. Guys, just walk me through. What are you guys seeing from Carranza's play right now?
I think Jim says it best. He's one of these guys, when he gets confidence, he's going to find the back of the net. And he's had a really good start to the season, obviously. I would say it goes back to, again, what Jim says this all the time. The front three, the Union will go as the front three. Obviously, the defense, I felt, has stepped up the last couple of games. But, I mean, yeah, you need to see this from Julian, because especially he's going to keep going. And, there's the rumors of him getting sold possibly this summer, maybe the end of the season. We don't necessarily want to see that unless there's a good price. But he's playing real confident right now. And the more confident he is, the more he's going to find the back of the net. Because my always concern is when he's not playing confident, that's when he misses those sitters and those easy goals. So what do you think?
Yeah, this is the Carranza we kind of expect. I mean, this is seeming like the height of his confidence, and it's been great to see. And hopefully that keeps going on. It also shows how much we will miss him if he does go, because who's going to step up there?
And that's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So, again, 2 weeks ago, he was in Portland. He gets the header off of Todd Wagner. Then he beats the one-on-one coverages. And then last week, he gets the Bedoya header off his head, over 2 defenders, goes and finds the back to net. I mean, right now, this dude is he's tearing things up. And like you guys mentioned, if they decide to move on from him, who is going to fill that void? Who's going to step up in his place? Are they going to come out of pocket? Probably not. But I mean, I don't know what else you have developed that's as good as he. Like Kyle, you mentioned, it's those when he doesn't have confidence in his game, where he has a wide open look and he'll miss it, and he'll be standing right in front of the net. But when he's in his zone, and he's tough to play against. And you saw the Union offensive pressure last week. I mean, they were bringing it to Minnesota. I mean, and this was a Minnesota team that was cutting through the league, and then they come to Subaru Park, and it's a friendly reminder this is not an easy place to play.
No, it's not, and I think that has partial to do with it. It was a sellout crowd. It was loud there. You'd even sit up in the press box. It was
I turned to the guys up in the press box, and I'm like, is this louder than normal? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, ooh.
So it was a good atmosphere. I mean, granted, and this is not taking anything away from the Union. I mean, Minnesota was out without one of their star attackers, Emmanuel Reynoso, who's in Argentina getting his green card. I mean, that guy was the face of the franchise for many years. Now they've obviously have gotten players like Timo Pukki, Dwayne Sinclair's kind of become a very, top 5 probably goalkeeper in the league at certain points. They have a good team. I think they're definitely going to be in the playoff hunt in the West. So it was a good early season challenge. I think the biggest thing for us was the Union's defense stepped up in a game where, what did you say? Union could have had a lot more goals than just 2. But the defense
the defense did.
And I agree. Yeah. I agree. You could have had a lot more goals. I mean, the way, like I said, they were bringing on the offensive pressure. I mean, you had Owa attacking. Quinn Sullivan was down there. I mean, it was just keeping that Minnesota defense on their heels, and it just got the best of them. I mean, like you said, you could have probably had a nice 3-4 goal win. It could have been, and kudos to Almoney again, kind of stepping in for Andre Blake. Andre Blake goes down late in the second half, and kind of filling that void again. Not an easy job to do. What's your take on the backup goaltending situation?
Well, I think we definitely have so much more confidence there than we did with Joe Bendik. Like, oh my goodness! But
and I love Joe.
hey, no offense to Joe.
I love Joe, but last year was bad. Last year was bad. He did not have a good year.
Yeah, no, Zemla gives us some confidence there. He's done a really good job, as a backup, and I think he grows in confidence every game. Like, he looks stronger and stronger each game, and we didn't think we'd be seeing him this much early on, but
I don't think he thought he'd see that time this much, and I think that's the thing is. And Jim said it, we've seen it watching the games. He's growing in confidence. Now, I've seen some comments. People are saying, well, maybe it's time to move off Blake. No,
it's like, whoa.
I mean, he doesn't have exactly. Let's pause here. He doesn't have certain skills that Blake does. Like, Blake's cat-like recognition and reflexes are, very few have them in this league. But I think Semla's, as he gains confidence, you see the skills that this kid, and if he continues to develop, we saw it with Matt Freese. Somebody might be calling Ernst saying, hey, what do you want for this kid? And there again, you go out developing goalkeepers, credit to Phil Wedden. You feel confident that if Blake can't go, okay, at least we're going to have somebody that is a suitable backup in net. Doesn't mean he might not have a stinker every now and then. He's still learning, but trial by fire sometimes, and he's really stepped up. I've been very impressed. What do you think?
Yeah, same. I mean, we have actually someone we can trust in there. Like, we don't have to feel like, oh no, when he comes in. So, and we'll see what happens tonight, because I know it's like kind of a game time decision with Andre. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys were saying, it's just funny because it's that your typical Philadelphia thinking right off the back. You want to go immediately to the backup. He's the bright future, and listen, he's a good, suitable backup, a serviceable backup. He's doing fine, but let's pump the brakes before we get carried away here. And again, and if somebody listen, if Andre Blake's got something and goes down or something comes up. At least we know we got someone to, we don't have to, turn up the sphincter about. He could actually come up and play, be, positive. So I like the way what this kid can do. I like the, he's just full positivity. Again, staying in between the, pipes, making big plays. Again, he's 6'3", 6'4". I would say about maybe 6'5", that range. I mean, he's got some length to him. He can make some, again, he's like an octopus back there. And again, kind of just really being a brick wall where you need, again, playing against a tough, fast-paced Minnesota team, an up-tempo kind of team. Listen, if it wasn't for that offsides, we could be, the momentum of that game could have been a whole lot different. But again, he's looked really, really good. So I got to give credit to this kid for, just holding his own, playing pretty much, once that CONCACAF and all those things came about, he really stood on. And you know what? It's funny. I'm going to ask you guys this too. The CONCACAF, I think, for the Philadelphia Union, for them getting exited out early has been the best thing for this team because I mentioned this to Andre, Mr. Bedoya last year. I said, playing 2 games every game, you guys are injured. Is this starting wearing your team? And he said, yeah. He said the heavy scheduling is just you're constantly in and out practicing. You're traveling city to city. You really don't have time to really look over tape and focus on your opponent. It's just gonna, you're playing every Saturday and Wednesday, so it's kind of there's no time to breathe. But now, and I had that feeling was going to happen this past year. Gratefully, it's just been nothing but ties. But the minute they got eliminated, I said this is going to be the best thing for this team. Because now they can focus one game at a time. They can take it week by week. And this is what Jim Curtin is able to do. Really focus in and break down their opponents, how he wants to play X's and O's, and, how he wants to square up the, defense and all those, the formations of whether it's a diamond, what's the 4-4-3, whatever the case may be. What's your take on that? Is it the best thing since they've been eliminated since CONCACAF, or you kind of wish I wish they were going through the ride of the CONCACAF?
Yeah, I mean, as much as we'd like to see them go forward in that, at the same time, I think we do look way more like ourselves because we're not being run ragged as much.
I look at it this way. I think if you ask the players, they're disappointed about how the way CONCACAF went and how they exited out. Pachuca was going to be a tough challenge. I think everybody knew that when the brackets were put together. But it's nice because I think, and we've talked to other people that like this, I think if you ask Jim his ideal situation, he'd like to play one game a week and just kind of roll with that rotation, that lineup, so you can focus on that game. I think it's in the best case that given this situation this year with, we got a lot of young players. They got some early experience in CONCACAF, but now they get to focus on the league. We'll see how it turns out. But I'm still a little disappointed in the way CONCACAF went.
It wasn't a good way that we ended it.
Yeah, and I think if we would have gotten by Pachuca there, I think we go back now to our third semifinal in 4 years, because I think everybody's going to beat the other. I think it's Hernando from Costa Rica. So, it's going to be tough. But on the bright side, even though the Union are out, like you were saying, Pat, now this is a good thing because they can focus on league. And let's be honest, we should all be Monterrey fans right now, because if Monterrey wins CONCACAF, guess what? You're going to Club World Cup. So it's a win-win for both sides there. But they're going to have some competition. I think Pachuca's the team right now that is red hot in this competition. I think they're looking good. Obviously, we'll see what happens with Club America. That whole side of that bracket's just really tough. But again, I think it's not a bad thing. And ever since then, when they got the way they got beat, you worried about the Portland match. How are they going to respond? They responded with flying colors, and then they responded against Minnesota. So again, I think if they get some momentum coming off of that disappointment, sky's the limit with this team.
Yeah, I think the way we responded in Portland, I mean, we had Austin, which we did okay, but then Portland, that was a big test, and that really, I know, gave me some confidence. I'm like, okay, we can actually step up to the plate and perform. I mean, being away and missing all those players, the guys stepped up, and I think that really was a good confidence boost to them.
Yeah, I think so too. And like you said, we're breaking down the offense as we speak. So, Kyle, I'm going to go right to you. When you look at what's the biggest exponent, is it Quentin Sullivan? Is it his game that's kind of keeping defenses on the edges? Is it because of his speed and his accuracy? Is it because people can't keep up with him and all those things?
I think Quinn's, like I said, elevated his game. He's definitely, has the speed. The thing I love about him is his confidence is great. He's got, as some of the kids say on Twitter, he's got the dog in him. And when he really wants to run up that side and put those balls in into the box. I didn't think he was as sharp at Minnesota as he was at, let's say, like at Portland. Or some of the other games this year, but he's just really has a fire lit under him to kind of take that next step. I've been really impressed with his creativity, his creation, and also if you've watched though, Pat, sometimes he's still, and I've asked him this personally. I said there's still times where you take 2 or 3 extra touches in, and we saw that on that goal against there towards the end. He's got to just simplify that last finishing touch at times. He does that now. Now I think you have a whole nother element to his game. And I really think then when you have somebody like Bedoya coming off the bench, feeling comfortable, feeling confident with his new role, now that adds a whole nother element on that right-hand side. And I also think Jack McGlynn on the other side of the midfield has stepped up as well with his creation. Again, could have finished the goal last week. But also I think, again, it goes back. Those two are big time contributors to the kind of this offense. Also, I think Mikel this year, as much as I'm a fan of his, I've also been very critical of his at times. He's playing very confident. And again, I know you and Todd talked about this last week. It's the things he's doing outside of the ball. Sure, he needs to score goals. But I asked Jim early in the season, he said Mikel's in the best shape he's seen him as a Union player. And you're seeing it. Now, he got neutralized last week against Minnesota, but, we'll see this week. He's questionable with a foot, so I don't know if he'll go. But if he does, there again, him and Carranza are a big piece. And you're seeing that with Mikel, too. He's crossing balls in, and sometimes Danny and Julian need to be crashing that box a little bit more, but they're really creating. And that's the thing that's going to be the Union. And I know you've talked about it in your show in the past is Union are creating chances. And the goals are going to come. And when they come, I'm not saying it's 2022 again. That's not what I'm saying. But I think if they can just get a couple more feet on those nice crosses there, I think the goals are going to come.
Yeah, I think, because, Quinn has been a big X factor in there. I love the Harriel to Quinn connection there too. I think that's been really good because Nate Harriel has been phenomenal.
Nate stepped up his game too.
Yeah. And so if Quinn can just finish those, like you said, he just takes a few extra touches sometimes at the end. He's so close, but he is definitely playing like, someone who wants to make a splash with the U.S. That is for sure. And, I hope he does get that opportunity at some point. But, I think Mikkel is a big key there, too. If he starts really clicking there and scoring the goals, watch out, because that is a dangerous group there.
Yeah, like you said, the way they attack on the offense, like you said, you have the speed of a Sullivan, and now I see these guys making plays in the box where they're able to create space, and there's defenses not even paying attention to the man-on-man coverages. And Julie, I'm going to go to, and I'm sorry if I butcher your name. I'm so sorry. I butcher my own name. So please forgive me. If I said Julie, that's correct, right? I mean, I forget my own name. Julian.
It's
all right.
Julian.
So I mean,
Julian.
I don't know Julian. Some people are very, and this I can't. My buddy would rather be called James and Jimmy. So I gotta, or else he'll punch me in the nose. But anyway, Julian, when you see another person who's kind of stepped up in the last game, a Gazdag, what can you take from his game as well?
Yeah, I think I know he didn't have the greatest time in Hungary, and we saw a source that basically said that he played like crap.
Which was his former club coach and now national team coach.
Yeah, and we know someone who is Hungarian actually, and we asked him can you, because you can't always trust Google Translate. I'm can you translate this? Tell us, and he basically said exactly what we thought it was. It's basically said he played in nicer words, crap, and I think he really kind of had something to prove. I think he definitely stepped up against Minnesota and had, a much better game. I think it was really important for him to get that goal there. And definitely, just a goal from open play. That was big because, everyone's on him. He's, pen merchant and all that. But I mean, those are important too. But I thought it was really good for him to get that goal there. I mean, be there at the right place and knock it in. But I feel like his confidence definitely was there. I feel like he's been really stepping it up lately.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I still say 2022 was his career year. I think that was the high water mark. And I still think at times he plays a little too hard to kind of recreate that rather than just, hey, let the game come to you at times. I mean, there's been some games when he's been downright invisible in that at that 10 position. So I think if his confidence, if that was a big confidence boost, and if he continues to improve, I mean, again, look, the front three are going to go as the Union goes. So let's see. But I hope he has another. He's had two decent. He's had one decent game since coming back, and he's shown some flashes here and there. Just needs to see that consistency.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm with again. He last year he led the league in penalty kicks. He led the league with 11 penalty kicks. He was really sharp there, and again, just he's starting to fire a little bit more. Again, last year he was more of a facilitator. He kind of was looking for guys, but now that you got Kai Wagner in the mix a little bit, and he plays. We all see he plays. Especially in that set piece, he's a quarterback. He kind of directs the offense where to go, where to set up, and he kind of just finds guys in open. And like I said, you look at that Gaza goal from last week. Again, gets the rebounds between two defenders and finds the back of net. I mean, he's been really, really sharp, and right there. So here goes our man JD Walker checking into the program. He says, "Good morning, guys. Finally able to catch up with you guys live for a bit. It's been a crazy few weeks for me." Yeah, JD. I'm glad you could catch up with us. Another member of the press box as well. A great guy to hang out with. But yeah, when you look at this offense, it's starting to click. But I want to talk a little bit, about the defense. But before I do that, you want to talk about defenses. There's only one place that you can really rely on. And that's our
All right,
sponsor.
guys, let's talk about Cherry Law Firm. If you get hurt at work in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or affected by criminal law, you got to call David R. Cherry of the Cherry Firm. Call 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your rights. Again, that number is 610-565-0300. That's 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your right.
That's right. David R. Cherry will fight for your right. Well, hopefully he can fight for the Union defense tomorrow. And, Julie, I'm going to go right to you. What's been your big key about this defense?
I think it's the confidence in those center backs because honestly, Glesnes coming off the injury, he was shaky at the beginning there.
And he's still coming off.
He's still coming off that.
Jimmy
yeah,
even said.
He hasn't been 100%. And then Jack Elliott, he had that knock and he wasn't 100%. And I think he was not great at some of the early games there either. I mean, Damian Lowe has done a pretty good job and he can be a little reckless, but I love his energy he brings. And so you got those three, but I think what an incredible game it was for Jack Elliott against Minnesota. He needed that. I think Glesnes the last couple games has stepped it up too. I mean, in Portland where we needed to really have them do a good job, that was big. But it was especially, I think a big key was Jack Elliott getting back on track there in that game. And the defense has been more compact. It's when I talked to Jack after the game and Jacob after the game, they were saying as much, especially like Jack was saying, their defense has been more compact and harder to break through. And that was a big key for them.
I agree. I think that's the one thing that stood out to me. They finally looked like they were getting back to some of the basics that have worked in years past, where when they stay compact, that's when the Union are at their most lethal defensively. I think that defense, and Jimmy mentioned about the defensive substitutions now, because I'll tell you, Pat, we were sitting there in the tailgate lot. A whole bunch of us are like, because Julian had asked a question about Damien tying his dad with the Caps number with Jamaica, and he just went into this great answer about how Damien's elevated his game. And we're like, man, I could see a world where Jim's starting to go Damien over Jack, and comes out lineups like, oh, they're going with Jack. Familiarity. And Jack really answered the bell. And so that was really good to see, because I think if you have three solid center backs, now you could go three in the back with those three center backs. You could rotate them in. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a really, really great situation for the Union to be in. And then let's look on the right side. I think Harrell's now the starting right back. Bizo just he hasn't looked great at all this year. I mean, maybe in one or two games, but Jim said, he'll have a 10 and then all of a sudden he'll just get cooked. And as soon as he gets cooked on that right side, he just shuts down. We saw it against Pachuca. And then Kai, Kai's playing great. So I'm very confident. I think the defense is starting to find, that next gear. And as long as they stay healthy, I think it's going to be a good sign for the Union.
Yeah, and I think Kai has been really, really important there. He's been consistently really good, honestly. Yeah. Yeah,
and he's good on both sides of the ball. And yeah, I mean, you guys kind of nailed it on the head. I mean, just the way he, like I said, the schemes are set up, and the way, okay, if hey, listen, Jake Wells, Glesnes, listen, we're ready for your replacement. And again, sometimes when you're kind of threatening a guy's job, he's got only two options. He's either going to step down or step up, and Glesnes has kind of answered the bell. And again, the way they're playing, in all those different formations. Like, I have a buddy of mine at work, and he's always worried about the left setback, and that's always kind of get picked apart. But now, like I said, with time to kind of zone in on it, it's not really much of a worry. But we got two great comments coming in. Here goes JD Walker. He goes, I asked both Jim and Jacob last week about how important is it for Daniel to get a goal. That wasn't a penalty kick, but both said it's great for his confidence and for the team. Kyle, I'll give you this one. How do you feel?
I think hit the nail on the head. I mean, again, if they're confident, we talked about Julian, talk about Daniel, Mikel. As long as these guys are confident, they're going to start finding the back of the net, and they'll be playing at the level we've seen and expect them to.
Yeah, the confidence there is key.
The confidence is so.
Yeah, he's starting to get, like I said, getting on the board early builds confidence. Like I said, this is still fairly. We're not even a quarter way into, or just coming up on a quarter of the season. And listen, we're starting to feel better about the team. Like I said, we if they could continue to play the way that they're playing against the especially the top tier teams, I mean, we could find ourselves again maybe the 1 and 2 seed of the East. And then, of course, the free kick checking as Julian looks a lot much better. He looks a lot much better than Kyle's always, according to the free kick.
Thanks,
so I don't know. Thanks, Dad. So that's the top father.
Todd's always busting my balls.
Yeah.
Todd's always busting my balls.
Nice.
Well, I appreciate it,
Todd. But again, when you zone in on this team, again, all things looking positive. But you know what? We are going to break down the X's and O's because a team that they know very, very well, a team that's got playmakers, but for some reason the Union had their number. But before I do that, guys, I want to remind you tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Come join us live at the Street Life Kitchen and Bar, 54 Fahrenheit Boulevard, Drexel Hill, PA, Holiday Inn Suite. It's the bar inside there. Guys, come out. We are giving a Phillies giveaway pair of tickets. So come hang out with us, and we'll hook you up if you're there. Come check us out. So it's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow morning. Come hang out with us. PM and AM, we'll kick you off, me and my buddy Mike. So if you see one of us going through the table or something like that, it's not because of WrestleMania, because we can't stand one another. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, anyway, come check us out. We're going to do a post game Philly game. For all for your Phillies contact. So come hang out with us. So we have that going on. But anyway, now let's look at this heavy Nashville. Nashville kind of 2 weeks ago, they got thumped on the road out there in LA. They lost 5-0. They kind of bounced back last week. And they had, Jacob Shelfberg, if I'm saying it's Shuffleberg, again, just being a facilitator, kind of, he found Mokhtar for his first goal of the year. Find guys in space. What can you tell me? Julian, I'll go to you first. What can you tell me? What scares you the most about this Nashville team?
Well, I think, Hani Mukhtar is always, a big factor there, and kind of neutralizing him is going to be important. But also, Shuffleberg's been playing really well. I think you've got to keep an eye on him. But I think in the past, like when we have basically had Hani's number and kept an eye on him and just kept him from having those chances, then good things have happened.
Yeah, I mean, Hani's still probably one of the best players in MLS. Shuffleberg, there's another, he's been, I think since last year, he's been one of their low-key best signings. Surridge, Sam Surridge, their striker. I mean, I think the fee that Nashville paid for him was a little much, but he still can create some world-class goals here and there. They're still a good team. I think the interesting thing for this game tonight is they're without Walker Zimmerman. They're going to be without Shaq Moore again. They're going to be without Randall Leal. So now they get who do they get back? They get back their goalkeeper. But we'll see. They got some injuries right now. And any time that that defense, we know they like to park the bus. Nashville doesn't really press. In fact, I think was it Jose said they have some stat where they're like one of the lowest teams in really creating inside the final third. So, and Todd, shout out to Todd there in the group chat. 4 league games against Union High. He's never scored a goal.
Don't jinx it.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't jinx it, Todd.
But yeah, no, that's an interesting stat. And another stat I have is all the time the Union are 1-1-1 with a 1-point goal differential in Nashville. So, and the last 2 times they've been there, they've done very well. So,
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a game where the Union is still feeling confidence. Geo's Park, that place is always rocking. So it's as good. It's a good environment. It's a place that we were actually thinking of going to the game this year. Just didn't work out.
I wish we could have, but we know a bunch of people
but,
going.
you know, Todd's down there. A couple of our friends are down there too. So it's going to be a fun atmosphere. And it's going to be a fun environment. My concern is that Nashville, they will just get in these things where, like you said again about Schauffelberg, he'll create and they'll get a goal. That crowd gets rocking, and then you're like, oh, now in your back feet, how do the Union respond? So again, with Zimmerman out, with Moore out, it's up to the offense, the front 3, depending on what Ua's availability is tonight, to really take advantage of that.
Yep.
And that's going to be my question to you, Kyle. If you're Jim Curtin, how would you attack it? Who do you need to get? How important is it to set the tone of this game to get on the scoreboard first?
Well, Jim's always said the Union play better from the front, you know. So yeah, I would need Carranza, I would need Ua, Gazdag, anybody. Just get that first goal early, get that crowd out of it, because Nashville will shoot the ball. They're not always the best at hitting the target, but they will create their chances. So for us to get out in front is going to be good. And then again, Brujo try to neutralize Hani as best he can. He's done a good job with him in years past, but what do you think?
Yeah, and if you recall last year when we played at Nashville, Joe Bendick was in goal. Remember that?
That was the I had put a meme out on Twitter with Paulie from Rocky Ford looking at Duke going, he's getting killed out there, because they were just shooting.
The crossbar was the MVP of that game.
MVP was the day. I was like, we're getting killed out there. It was bad. And but there again, we came away with a 2-0 win where we're like, if you looked at the first 20 minutes, we had no reason being in that game.
Yeah, no, they just kept missing. And so we got lucky there. But I think we do need to take advantage of, they have some missing players back there. And also our guys have been stepping it up. So if we can go get the first goal, I think that would be huge, getting that confidence boost. It definitely changes it so much. I mean, when we went out and scored first in Austin, you know, that was big. But with Portland, absolutely. And so if we can just keep that going. Yeah,
I also, and JD brings up a good point about Lowe. I am curious to see if Jim goes with maybe a 3 in the back or a shift, although it'd be hard to then just shift out Lowe after the performance both of those guys had this past weekend against Minnesota. But Jim brings up a good point, and he had mentioned that to you about tactical flexibility.
Yeah, like he doesn't always like changing formations, he said in the presser. And but you know, he has, you know, learned to be a little flexible there. And, you know, he didn't want to change formation in the last game, but his assistant coaches were like, oh, you know, we should do this. And then he went with it. And so it will be interesting to see what he does there, because he said, you know, there's going to be games where he's going to go 3 in the back, and you might see that tonight. We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what formation he goes with, what tricks he has up his sleeve. And again, it's going to be a fun game. I think, like I said, it's no matter what he does. Again, I think the Philadelphia Union are kind of in Mukhtar's head right now. And it's just, you know, like I said, whether it's the crossbar, bail him out or something. I mean, it's kind of scary to face this Philadelphia Union team when they're clicking on all cylinders, and you really don't have a backup plan of how to slow things down. It's just it's just remarkable that how this team responded, especially after that 5 minutes of a washout of a game, and how they kind of, you know, made things work in their favor. It's just it's a beautiful thing that's happening. And like I said, this team's, you know, whether they're on the road, whether they're at home, whether they're back now on the road again, this team is on the same playing field, and it's hard to slow this team down collectively. And whether, like you said, maybe the right substitution and that Bedouille's role coming off the bench late, being that late spark that you kind of need to kind of get things going. Just when it looks like things are kind of cooling down, he's the voice on the field. Like, come on, guys, let's get in. Let's get into the game. I think that's a big key. Kyle, how do you feel about Bedoya being that kind of that the leader, that being that late spark? How do you feel about his role in the team?
I love it. I had been saying that since, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but a lot of us have been saying that since last year. He can't go 90 on a consistent basis. But when he comes in and we saw that at the Leagues Cup last year and a couple other times, when he was coming in, he was scoring goals, creating goals. And you're right. He comes in a 1-1 game, you get that sense of calmness, like, okay, Cap's here. We're going to rock and roll now. And he kind of brings that calmness, and then they can attack that final 20, 30 minutes. So I love the role for him. I'm glad it worked out for the Union, because a lot of us didn't think it was going to get done, especially after those reports that we had heard throughout the end of the year. So I think it's been very nice, kind of, I wouldn't say surprise, because a lot of us felt that, but it's nice to see that it's starting to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I do love this role for Ali. I'm really glad they could make it work. And it really is win-win for the team here. And it's huge, like having him just come off the bench. And he's got, he can bring that calm, bring the tactical knowledge there. And do things like have those late goals or the assists. Like that assist to Julian last week was awesome. I mean, but even just like against Portland, and he had that leadership, as Jim said, he basically put his arm around Raffanello and guided him to, and I think that was huge. I mean, what a big game for Rafa, but I think, bring that veteran leadership in there is crazy. And at his age, and as someone close in age to Ale, it's not easy, doing that whole thing, but I love it. Honestly, I think this is what he needs to be doing at this point.
I do too.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's, like I said, him playing that leadership role, like I said, just that late spark kind of like, hey, listen, daddy's here. You know what I mean? Daddy's here to kind of, lead the charge right now. Let's go. Like, and right now he's tied right now. Like I said, I know it's very early into the season, but him and Wagner being your two guys who are leading the charts right now in facilitating. I mean, I like I said, I know it's only two, but still, I mean, that's huge. That's huge for for his game as well. Confidence. Like, at least hey, listen, you can. He might not be able to find the back of the net, but you know what? Listen, I can facilitate. I got vision. I can see what's going on here, and that's the same thing with Wagner, especially at that corner. He's like, I got vision. I know where I want to place my guys. Boom, I know where we can score goals. And like I said, this team is very dangerous. I was kind of shaky, but when this team really takes one game at a time, like I said, has that week rest and stretch and does all their video footage on their opponent, listen, this team's hard to beat. But before we go any further, I do have to get in one more ad here. Guys, listen, Philly Sports Trips, guys, again, this is going to be a great summer for the Philly Sports Trips. Of course, guys, if you guys want to go out to Baltimore for Father's Day weekend, maybe, or Father's Day week, go out to Baltimore, check out the Phillies and Orioles. Maybe you guys want to go out to Pittsburgh, July 19th, 22nd, or Father's Day weekend itself. Again, going up to Boston. Again, so many great trips we have going on here. And, of course, the Birds heading down to Brazil. Don't know who the opponent is. We're going to find that out coming up soon. Of course, if you want to get the discount, go to ShareTicketsTown.com. Use the promo code EOP10. Save yourself 10% off by using that promo code. But yeah, listen. So I'm going to get in your final predictions of this game. I'll go first. I will say that the Philadelphia Union, now my confidence is built back up. When I am like a flip-flop. Anyone here will tell you I am the ultimate flip-flopper. When they not playing well, I think they're never going to win. When they're playing well, I think they're going to win the whole thing. So now with this going, I think this is going to be a 3-1 win for your Philadelphia Union. How do you feel? Julian, I'll go to you. How do you feel?
I feel cautiously optimistic. And as much as I'd love to see us get a clean sheet, I don't think we will. I could see it being like 2-1. And you said 3-1. I could see that too if we can capitalize on some of their missing pieces, for sure.
I'm always the boring one. I don't do predictions, but I will say this. If you look at Nashville right now, they've had the last 7 games without a clean sheet. All right. So they've been scored on their last 7 games. Now, total last 6 games, total score has been more than 3 goals. So every game they've played in, there's been more than 3 goals. And both teams have scored in the last 6 out of their 7 matches. On the flip side, when both of these two teams, when the Union and Nashville meet, it's going to be a tight one because in their last, 8 out of 8 games, there's been less than 2.5 goals total. So 1-0, 2-0 kind of tight games. I think it's going to be more of a closer game. I don't know. This game screams 1 point to me. This screams like a 1 draw, like a 1-1 draw or something like that. I don't know. It's just, remember, it's on the road. And I actually had this game as a loss, believe it or not, in my season predictions, just because sometimes it's just an interesting game. However, but having said how they've been playing right now and they're playing confident, anything's outside the window. If the Union are confident, I could see them go down there and blow them out too. So it's going to be an interesting, I think, with this game. And then they got to go to Atlanta next week, and Atlanta's red hot. Yeah, this is an opportunity Union have to take advantage of. So I'm leaning towards more the positive end, but I'll be curious to see how it goes tonight, just looking at the history of these two teams. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun and exciting. And well, listen, I got 2 more questions for you both. First of all, Kyle, I'll go back to you. Outside the market game, what is the game to watch for tonight?
Oh, man. Oh, marquee game. What is the game to watch tonight? Oh, my gosh. Good. Let me look at my schedule because now, and I like this question. This is a good question. I'm going to look at see what MLS has here because there was 2 games that I looked at today, and when I was looking at the schedule this morning, and are you looking at it too? Yeah, we're looking at the schedule because there was one game. I forget who it is. I'll be honest with you. I'm very interested in the Cincinnati, New York game.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
I'm also interested in the El Tráfico.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Julian? Same?
Yeah. Also, I mean, the Miami-Colorado game I'm kind of intrigued about because Colorado has actually been playing with some confidence and doing well. And, so it'll be interesting to see how they do on that one.
Yeah.
I got 2 written down. I got Vancouver and Toronto. It's an eye-popping one. I want to see who's running the North up there. And then I got, even though they got lost last week, I want to see how they respond. And that Minnesota, again, they're still a decent team. I want to see how Minnesota handles business at home against Salt Lake City. So that was another one I have written down as well. So those are my takeaway games. But now I got to ask you, since they call me the Gobbler Runner because I'm a professional slob and I eat like. If you've seen this with the shirt, you would probably vomit because I am a true pig and I don't know when to stop eating. But I'm pretty much thrown out every buffet I go to. So I got to ask you, what is the meal of the night? I mean, then again, it's 8:30, so you might be thinking dessert. But if you had to go to a before meal plan prep, what would your meal of the night be?
Oh my, that's a great question.
I know what we're having for lunch.
Yeah, we're having pho for lunch, but
that's one of our favorite dishes. But
yeah,
if I'm going with something, what would we go with?
Nashville hot chicken. No, that's what I'd be doing if we were in Nashville.
Yes, we would be going Nashville hot chicken.
Yeah,
we would
I'm
be
a big fan of that stuff.
Honestly, I'll tell you what I could go for. If this is a game tonight, if we're still hungry, I could just go for a nice big old school stromboli, deli stromboli with sauce inside of it. Yeah, that's a sleeper
pick.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good call. Yeah, for me, probably just like honestly a good pizza.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh, Stromboli. Now you got me hungry.
I'm gonna have to do a Stromboli.
Yes. Darn you, Kyle. See, this was because now I'm gonna have to take that. That was a sleeper pick. That was I was thinking more of the round. I was thinking I was gonna go, maybe some late pasta, maybe something like a ravioli type. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just kind of relax. It's 8:30. It's kind of late. I want to just relate. Just it's late. I want to kind of just relax and just want to eat some, maybe some stuffed shells. Just kind of throw it in there. It's kind of that kind of night. But a Stromboli is a good selection. And now I'm going to have to change up and go to my bullpen. And I'm going to have to go to the almighty Stromboli because that was a great selection by you, Kyle. Good stuff. But listen, guys, again, check out We Agree on One Team podcast. Julian and Kyle do a great job. Guys, go check them out. What days and what times can they check out your guys' show?
We generally record our show's usually out Monday or Tuesday. Sometimes we'll do a Thursday show. We usually promote it. I know this week we have the Free Kick coming on to talk about his time in Nashville. So that'll probably be out on Tuesday this week. So keep an eye out for that. And then we got a couple articles on the One Team We Agree On.
Yeah, we got some great articles coming out on the oneteamweagreeon.com. So definitely worth checking out. I got some, things planned for that.
Yeah.
And but yeah, usually Mondays or Tuesdays. We have put out at least one a week.
Yep.
Well, listen, you guys heard it live. Go check out their podcast. We Agree on One Team podcast. I love it. I love because now it's like I was wondering, like, who is the Dolphins fan here? And then I have such a low IQ. I should just automatically just figure it was going to, just be Kyle. But I was right. Kyle. But anyway, now listen, guys, go check it out. All great stuff. Again, tomorrow morning, go hang out with me if you want. I will be live at the spot. I don't know. Where am I going to be at tomorrow? I just mentioned right here. I'm going to be at the Streetlight Kitchen Bar tomorrow. They're right there in Truxtun at that Holiday Inn Hotel doing a live podcast remote. And then next week, I'm going to be doing 2 Union podcasts. I'll be doing the Attack and Third Thursday night at 9 o'clock. And then I'm going to do a post game live from my studio next for the Atlanta and Union game, since that's going to be nationally televised. So, guys, I want to say thank you so much for joining me again. Julian, Kyle, check them out. We Agree on One podcast, One Team podcast. Guys, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thanks for having us, Pat. It's been fun.
Thanks so much, guys. Check them out all the time. So let's get out of here and let's call it a day.